Hey guys, welcome true believers. I'm here today to give you another WandaVision episode review. And I guess recap. I guess I can just say reviews with this. As always, please remember to subscribe. I give you these kind of videos every Friday. And this episode was, man, it was eye popping. Just Today's episode was actually called Now in Color because if you remember at the end of the last episode, we shifted from black and white to color, which is it was an homage, I want to say, to Bewitch. His Bewitch went from black and white to color in the 70s. Um, Thing I would also like to note is that this episode was also 33 minutes. Now, a lot of people were complaining when The Mandalorian didn't do full hour episodes. I can't complain about WandaVision not having full 1 hour episodes because they've done so much with the 33 minutes. 33 minutes from the first episode, second episode, and now the third episode. They've done a lot. And they're telling a really great story. So if anybody complains about that, stop. Just stop. Uh, Another reason I appreciate the 33 minutes is one, let's say I stayed up very late to watch this. It's only 33 minutes of my time, and I don't have to worry about being groggy in the morning. And two, literally, you can watch this and then do something else. It's amazing. So let's get into the review real quick. So what happened? Well, Wanda got pregnant in the episode after seeing that mysterious beekeeper man, which someone had reminded me that it could be a reference to an old Spider-Man villain called the Swarm. Probably. I don't know. Let's go right back into this. Wanda and Vision are visited by a doctor who says she's at least 4 months pregnant, which is crazy because it's happened overnight. And Vision's just very nervous about everything because he knows this isn't what's supposed to happen, but they're rolling with the punches. And I took some notes. I texted some notes to myself, and the doctor was pretty misogynistic. He said something to the effect of, "Oh, we like to explain it with fruit to the ladies, the size of the baby," which is just I don't know if that was a common thing in the 70s. I know Mary Tyler Moore show was breaking down barriers, so or maybe that's just this person's personality, but I'll get into that later. He also said something else towards the end, saying that Geraldine would make a great nurse. Not a great doctor, but a great nurse, which is whatever. So he's supposed to be going on vacation to Bermuda or somewhere. And Vision and Wanda just trying to get through things. And he's been reading tons of books. Even the little WandaVision intro showed he's reading books about pregnancy and everything of that nature. And one moment, Wanda turns around, and then she's bigger again. And I already said in my head, I said more than likely she's probably 6 months, judging by how big the belly was. And Vision was reading, and Wanda felt Braxton Hicks. I hope I'm saying this correctly. Sorry, doctors, if I'm saying this incorrectly. I believe it's Braxton Hicks contraction, which is a false alarm, which is something that women usually feel 6 months in. Vision's trying to figure out how is she getting these contractions and everything 6 months in, and she's just popped up pregnant. He even tried to ask the doctor, and then the doctor was trying to give him the birds and the bees talk. Eh. I will say one of the nice touches about this being in the 70s is that Vision was wearing those giant glasses from the 70s. I remember seeing pictures of my mom wear those big glasses. And those glasses have come back in style. I prefer something smaller to frame my face, but to each their own. And even the vacuum that she was using was a very old 70s style vacuum that she was using her powers, her magic to move around. Now, apparently, according to Vision's calculations, the baby's going to be there Friday. It's going to be there in 3 days, which 3 days, more than likely it's a Tuesday. So they're trying to figure out what's going on. They're trying to be on the P's and Q's. When Wanda has another contraction, the kitchen just goes haywire. Like soap foams up in the kitchen. Things are being thrown everywhere. Power goes on. They're both back to back, like ready to fight, wondering what's going on. And Vision says he's going to check on the neighbors. He checks and comes back. They go into the baby room. Wanda's using her powers to paint a stork on the wall and to have the mobile and put all the baby stuff together. And she has another contraction. Then the butterflies on the mobile become real. She lets those out, and as they're talking and coming back to the main family room, living room area, Vision, he has this look on his face. He's saying, Wanda, something doesn't feel right. This just, he's giving the intonation that something feels wrong. And because they're talking about what's going to happen when the baby comes, which is pretty interesting given that he is technically a synthetic human. So I don't even know if those can have babies, but obviously they can now, right? And when he's saying that something feels off, it was so startling. A jump cut. He goes back to the beginning of what he was saying and saying that they'll take care of it together and they'll love each other. It seems like anytime someone notices that something is off, things either rewind or they reset themselves. So suddenly, Wanda's having another contraction, and then it starts to rain in the house. And she says, "My water just broke." So while they're hiding underneath the table, the rain stops. He tells her to hold on. He's going to run and get the doctor, even though he was supposedly gone on his trip. Vision is Vision, android superhero, synthetic android superhero. So he's running fast, and the animation for him moving fast is pretty impressive. I always liked how they did that. Meanwhile, Geraldine shows up, aka Monica Rambeau. Sorry for the spoilers. I just know who's playing her. That's Monica Rambeau. And she comes in to talk to Wanda. Wanda doesn't, earlier they told the doctor to keep it under wraps that she was pregnant. And she started carrying a bowl of fruit, was looking for a bucket because not just in their house, apparently in Geraldine's house, her pipes burst and it was just getting flooded and there was rainwater everywhere. And one thing I did forget to mention as Vision was showing out the doctor earlier, we had a shot of Herbert or Hube or Herb, the black guy with an afro who was cutting his hedges, but he was starting to cut the wall, and he was just smiling through the whole thing, which led Vision to talking to Wanda about what was going on, about things not feeling right. Now Geraldine's still talking to Wanda, and Wanda's still trying to fake everything. All of a sudden, an actual stork appears in the children's room, the baby room. It's just going honk honk, and Wanda had to play it off like it was something else. Wanda's trying to distract Geraldine from seeing this actual stork that has appeared and ran back into the baby's room. She even tried to vanish it away, but it kind of blew the smoke off, which was kind of interesting. I'll speak more on that later. So Geraldine goes into the baby's room and says, "Oh man, you're gonna have a baby." Wanda drops the bowl of fruit because the baby is coming. And the stork did a funny thing where it just blended into the wall, even though it was still there. And Wanda was having a baby. Vision caught up to where the doctor was, which it just so happens that for some reason he can't take his trip because his car broke down. Now the doctor looks familiar and his wife looked familiar. I cannot place my finger on them, but I'll probably give you an update next video. Vision grabs him without caring about this doctor wondering how is he moving fast. He's like, "I'm going to carry you," and just runs right off. Meanwhile, Geraldine slash Monica Rambeau is trying to make sure Wanda's comfortable, and she's like, "I can't do it. I can't do this." And she's coaching her. All throughout the episode, they're doing the breathing. She does that with her, the hee-hee-hoos. Wanda's pushing, and as Wanda's pushing and having contractions, her house is going ballistic. Paintings are spinning around, things are coming on and off, and things are falling. Geraldine notices all this and says there's probably a perfectly reasonable explanation for all this, but it's fine. So she's helping her deliver the baby. Vision gets there with the doctor after the beautiful baby boy is born. They call him Tommy, which is very touching because Vision wanted to name their son Billy after William Shakespeare. And after Geraldine and the doctor go away so they can have a moment alone, he shows his real face. And all of a sudden, Wanda's having contractions again. She's having a second baby. So they're having Billy and Tommy. Now, those names should matter to anyone who loves comics and knows the Young Avengers, because Billy and Tommy are the names of Speed and Wiccan Vision and Wanda's actual children in the comics that they had during the House of M series. That somehow they were reborn as being actual twins, and they all remembered one another, and they all remembered each other within the comics world. Like they had that sense and that familiarity. I digress. Um, Vision's gonna go ahead and see the doctor out. Once again, Geraldine's gonna help Wanda with the children, and the doctor says, he asks him, "So you're gonna take your trip?" He's like, it's kind of hard to escape these small towns. It just seems that there's no way out. And he has a very solemn look on his face as he's saying this, and Vision looks puzzled. And suddenly, Agnes, the nosy neighbor Agnes with the husband Ralph, excuse me, she appears and she's talking to Herb over by the bushes on the corner, and Vision waves to them and say, "Oh yeah, hey Vision," and they go back to talking. And Vision's curious about this and walks towards them. And they start, Agnes particularly start asking about Geraldine. "Have you seen Geraldine?" She's like, "Yes, what's wrong?" "Well, she lives alone in that house, and she's not from here." Now, you could have seen that as a racist thing with Geraldine being black, but Herb is black. So follow me for a minute. And Vision's just asking, "Well, how is that strange?" And Herb is saying, it's because we're all, and Agnes is trying to tell him, "Don't say it. Don't say what's going on." We're going to go back into the house now, where Geraldine brings up she has twins. It's kind of odd because one of the babies is just kind of looking. I can't tell if it's just a normal baby look or if it's like a CGI, like, "I'm looking at you, girl." But anyway, Wanda starts saying, "Yeah, I was a twin. My brother Pietro." Pietro. She says in very European accent. And she starts singing this song in, I'm guessing, the native language or whatever. She starts singing in her native language, I guess a lullaby or something like that. And and Geraldine Monica Rambeau, she starts looking at her and saying, "Your brother was killed by Ultron, wasn't he?" Which is, by the way, avoid clickbait video, not videos but articles, because there's an article going around. Major supervillain name drop. The name is Ultron. She drops Ultron, and she says, "Your brother was killed by Ultron." She's like, "What did you say?" And Jordan tries to go off and say, "Oh, I said you're amazing, Juan." She's like, "No, what did you just say? Who are you?" And suddenly, her pendant changes to the sword symbol again. She's like, "What is that? What did you say? Who are you?" And you got Monica backing up and backing up. Meanwhile, outside, Vision is pressing them for questions, where Agnes says, right before he says, "Because we're," and before Herbert can say, "Because they're stuck there," she goes around and says, "Oh, because, we're doing such a," I forget the lame reason she gave, but the situation was very, very, very tight. And she comes up with a reason. She's like, "My husband Ralph husband jokes from sitcom, blah, 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 blah." She goes off, and Vision's like, "Herb, tell me what you're about to say." And Herb goes, "I'll see you later, Vision." He pulls this cutter, and there's the cord on this thing is so short. Was it even actually plugged in? So Herb runs off. Vision goes back in the house and says, "Darling," I wish I could do Paul Bettany's accent. "Darling, where's Geraldine?" And Wanda's looking at the twins saying she had to go suddenly. She had to leave suddenly. And I'm like, "Oh Lord, they killed her. They should kill her." Well, the episode goes into the WandaVision credits, and suddenly we go from the wide vision to the television standard, and the border expands, and we see the Westview sign, and we see a blip as if there's a force field. Monica Rambeau is shot out of this force field, out of nowhere, out of this force field, and skids across the ground. And then a military force comes with guns drawn, and I guess they go and they collect her. Wow. Wow. And wow. What an episode. So, Someone had made point in the video I saw before that Agnes could be one of the famous female Hydra agents, and I'm kind of living the fence that she probably is, and I'm gonna give you my theory in a moment. I can't tell you which character she is, but I'm gonna guess that she's possibly Miss Fitcher, who worked directly under the direction of Baron von Strucker. Baron von Strucker's name was brought up in the second commercial of episode 2, and in this commercial of episode 3, it was, oh, you want to get away because this woman was having issue with the kids making things dirty, the dog making things dirty. Everything was just going right, but want to make things better, use Hydra soap. Had the Hydra symbol on it and everything. Outside of the Tony, I was first thinking and experiencing that, believing her experiences were, she's just going through parts of her life, and they waited for Tony Stark to kill them, meaning the Stark labeled bomb, and then she got with Hydra, who gave them their powers, and then she ends up chasing remnants of Hydra with Captain America and the Avengers. But what if Westview, like I said before, and I love it when I'm right, Westview is an actual place. But what if Wanda, struck with grief that Vision has died, because this is the end. This is at the end of Endgame. Vision's dead. He's not coming back, and technically, Vision got killed twice. Wanda had to kill him so that Thanos wouldn't get the Mind Stone. She shattered it, but he had the Time Stone and rewound it and killed him much worse than she did. So, I believe that, stricken with grief and with Vision's body, she was offered a deal by a splinter cell of Hydra. Could be half Hydra, half AIM. I know AIM is there in that universe. So, Hydra or AIM, I'm going to say Hydra, or a combination of two, said, we can bring him back using your abilities. Your abilities are stronger than what you know. You think that's just telekinetic and you can make yourself fly and you can control things. You can control the world around you. Let us bring out your power and let us study you. We can help you bring him back. And I believe that this lab is underneath the town of Westview. And they promise you can have a normal life where no one will find you. Well, of course, things go awry because these idiots don't realize just how strong Wanda Maximoff is. She uses her abilities and her reality warping abilities almost on a House of M level, because this isn't House of M level yet. House of M enveloped the entire world. What's another M? I can't remember. There's another saga that happened, but House of M enveloped the entire world. So, and the 199 saying no more mutants. This event is designated to this one town, and I believe underneath this town, she created this. The Hydra agents are stuck. Sword found out about it, and they tried to send a helicopter in there. It got turned into a toy. They tried to send the beekeeper, who may or may not be Swarm, just he's a Sword agent. Sent him in there. Wanda rejected him. When Wanda found out who Geraldine really was, not her real name, but found out that Geraldine is not who she appears to be, and that this world isn't what it is, I believe Wanda rejected her from that world and threw her out. And if you make note, in the first two episodes, second episode, Geraldine never spoke with Agnes and was never around Agnes. Agnes was on the other side of Wanda, but she's probably been studying and finding out who the heck this girl is. I don't think Mephisto has anything to do with this, like I said in my last review. Pardon me. But I fully believe that underneath the town of Westview is where this experiment happened. Wanda's powers went out of control and enveloped the whole town. There are people there who don't even realize that their lives are changed. And when they do realize it, because of getting cut like Dottie did, or just realizing that things are not what they're supposed to be, the only ones that seem to know that things aren't what they're supposed to be is Hydra. And I think Hydra pushed Wanda to having babies, because in the first episode, it was all about, when you're going to have children, you got to have children. Don't you want to have his children, to be stable husband and all this, children, that, children. And even in the second episode, the talent show was for the children. Someone has concocted this to make her have children, bring children to this world. so they can study them, understand her latent mutant abilities, because Hydra's probably understood that it wasn't the cosmic cube that gave her and her brother powers. It just unlocked what was already there. And I fully believe that they are trying to use her abilities while at the same time under her abilities thumb. Wanda controls this world, whether she part of her realizes it and part of her doesn't. I believe her subconscious knows this, and she's rejecting anything that will ruin this world where she can have vision and have a family and be normal. But there are times, just like in the subconscious, she remembers her brother and she misses her brother. She has gone through two major traumas and lost two people that were very dear to her. And even in the comments, Wanda Maximoff has a great deal of mental illness and mental strife, not just from losing, not just mostly from not being accepted, especially when she did the whole No More Mutants thing. She was cut off from the X-Men, were just kind of done with her. The Avengers were kind of people in the Avengers were kind of done with her. Vision had broken up with her because of various things, and I think because they lost their children, and she still lost these kids that she very much had in that world. I'm wondering what's gonna happen if because Marvel MCU, they have a way of adapting things, making things same but different. Uh, Most of our heroes' origins are the same but different. You know, Tony Stark with the Middle East, Captain America, and how the Howling Commandos appeared during his time. So many things are different. I have a feeling that these kids are here, and when we get Wanda out of this weird time bubble, that because Sword is monitoring this, they're able to somehow get the electromagnetic waves and monitor this episodes of Wanda's life, and I'm pretty sure that the Hydra agents are using old television to lull her into this state of consciousness where she's actively using her abilities while at the same time not realizing that she's in this world. I believe she's willfully here because she doesn't want to deal with reality. And I'm pretty sure many people in the world can identify with that, having to go through harsh things and harsh losses and many tragedies. A lot of times you want to be in a different world, and I think this is a very wonderful show. If I'm correct, this is a very wonderful show because technically we have villains, but at the same time, it seems like the villain itself is tragedy. But I'm just getting this from episode 3. I'm pretty sure this ends in March, so maybe this is like an 8 or 10 episode thing. Who knows? Just if I'm right, yay. If I'm wrong, I'm okay with that too. But tell me, what did you think of the episode? Is it kind of crazy about what's going on? Do you think the next episode? Do you think we're gonna get like an '80s kind of thing? The intro for this one was all Partridge Family. It was very much Partridge Family. Um, I wonder if they're gonna stop at the '90s. I think the only other thing they can do, '80s would be Brady Bunch. The '90s will be not Family Matters. Full House. You know, they're white people. They're not gonna do the black ones. But I digress. I'm pretty sure they're gonna end up doing Brady Bunch and then Full House and then all hell is gonna break loose. And I have a feeling that since this ties into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness as well as Spider-Man 3, I have a feeling that at the end of all this, that reality bubble that's there, it's going to rip and ripple and go all the way around the world. People are probably still going to hate Wanda at the end of all these conclusions. So, thank you guys for sticking by. Like I said, let me know what you thought of the episode down in the comments below. Remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, get notified of more videos like this. Every Friday we do these reviews. Share these videos so other people can see the great time we're having. Look at this great Avengers shirt from Infinity War. I love it. Guys, as always, please be good, be blessed. Wash your hands, wear your mask, socially distance. Don't be in groups of more than 6 people. Black Lives Matter as always. And like I always tell you, I will definitely see you next time. If Magneto shows up in any part of this series, I will flip out in a good way.